Yeah. Chuck, now back to poker. I mean, that's the great thing about Hustler Casino Live is that, you know, these are private games. And what we're trying to do, and I think what we've been able to do is, you know, we are a fly on the wall. And I think for moments, players almost forget they're even on a live stream. They forget that thousands upon thousands of people are watching them. And they do things and say things that you'd be surprised sometimes, but it is a lot of fun. Handz is going to 4-bet with ace-king, and Lupu's, well, it's got a tough decision because, you know, he's getting a pretty good price, but he's out of position with a hand that doesn't necessarily play very well against a 4-better's range.
Anybody want a plaque?
And while I certainly can talk over players, I try not to. I know you get plenty of me. There are plenty of games where nobody's talking, and you get plenty of my banter.
45 minutes.
If there's table talk, I do want to let you guys hear it.
Being lucky those spots.
So Lupu makes the call. Pot now $43,000, and Handz not only with the best hand, but also in position. And I think if you're Lupu, you're just done with it. Yeah, you're like bye-bye. And it's almost too suspicious for Handz to check this back, but we'll see what he does. I'm oftentimes not a huge fan of checking this back because, you know, you're the one who's going to have ace-king and ace-queen and ace-jack here, and it's just not really believable. And on the random times your opponent called you with like 6s or 7s, and let's say they were not going to bluff at it, do I want to give them the free 2-outer, right? Do I want to give them a chance to hit their 2-outer and then I go broke? Betting small, that I love. Yeah, Jimmy, 100%, man. And look at this. Lupu does call. Small bet from Handz and you get paid. Lupu's got backdoor diamonds. And there's a queen. I think a lot of players make the mistake of checking when a small bet actually ends up getting a little bit of value, denies your opponent a little bit of equity, and you get value. I mean, people will call you really, really light when they're getting such a good price. Love the split screen here. Handz going to check it back. Maybe try to tell the story that he's got jacks. Maybe Lupu goes for a small amount of value. Try to get called by 10s or jacks. Or I think checking is certainly reasonable. It looks like he is going to cut out a small little bet. It's tiny, though. Don't know if I like the sizing. Because you do induce your opponent to kind of bluff in these spots, and then you're put into a tough spot. I think you could bet small, like 20% pot, and still get value from jacks and stuff, and then not kind of put yourself in this like really weird leveling area. Now Handz is in this kind of spot where it's like, okay, well, I mean, clearly with Handz' exact hand, he's going to raise, but what would he do with 10s here? I mean, would he ever turn 10s into a bluff and try to represent? I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of blocker bets unless you're, you know, you're balancing them really well. Yep. And now Handz has made it 25,000. And now Lupu's got to decide, okay, well, does this guy actually have it? No, he's going to pay him off. Look at that. He pays him off. I was going to say, I mean, I think when you bet so small, you've got to decide, now is my opponent just attacking my tiny bet, or do they actually have it? And I feel like if Lupu bet like 10K, he still gets raised, and then he can probably fold a lot easier. Nonetheless, though, a nice pot there.
Nice hand.
Lupu now down 107,000. Harissa down 178. Dave is up 109. Handz now up 78.5. Once again, I'm David Tuckman, and I'll be here today and on Wednesday. But our shows will be airing, streaming each day, starting at 11 a.m. Pacific time. This pot's starting to get a little bit bigger. Some players starting to get a little stuck.
Rob?
As we approach 2 in the morning over in Cyprus.
How much?
9,000.
9.
Sometimes it just takes, you know,
9,000.
a couple of coolers, a bluff gone wrong, a bad fold, and then, you know,
7 times, yeah?
the game is on fire.
7 times.
You guys should start a GoFundMe in the chat to fly Alan Keating to Cyprus. But keep in mind, my guess is he flies first class. So, 3-bet from Handz. Rob Young makes the call. Rob is up big. He won the biggest pot of the night, nearly $300,000, where he flopped the set. And he has flopped a flush draw here, and a pretty big one is that. Handz has got a pair of 8s, though, and backdoor diamonds. Yeah, tough week for some people to get out here, as you might imagine, with it being Thanksgiving. Pair of 8s are still good. Rob can win this with a queen, a jack, a heart, or somehow getting that man to fold.
$25.
And Handz going to unload 25,000 into 30. Rob is cagey. He'll gamble. He likes to run it once, but he also doesn't like to give his money away.
How much you pay
And
now?
at this point, he only has a flush draw. He might not think his queen or his jack are good.
Just roughly, don't we?
Maybe like 90 more. But I'm bad at counting chips,
It's
so.
all right, don't worry about it.
And Rob makes the call, $80,000 in the pot. Rob looking for a queen, a jack, or a heart. He's also in position. Can he somehow get Handz to fold? Handz got about a $75,000 behind. Rob needs one more card, as he would have the world right now. But in actuality, he literally has queen high. Handz has the check mark. The only question is, can he get the showdown? Check. Rob checks it back, and Handz is going to win it with a pair of 8s. Oh, that was a fun one.
They said 8s. Trip 8s.
You could claim 4s.
Alan in the chat says, thank you for the kind words. Thanks for having some fun poker for all of us to enjoy. Poor Ryan Feldman. I like the bet, though. Yeah, unfortunately for Ryan in that spot, he probably gets a weaker ace to fold. I just think ace-queen without a heart.